Hi guys, happy Monday. Welcome to Maker Mornings with Meg. So we are getting going on Christmas right now, so holiday helper tips ahead. But one of the sweets that you probably saw, because it's right at the front of the book, is the Gingerbread and Peppermint sweet. And I am really excited to use this. I actually got it really early because sometimes as demonstrators we get invited to do like some sneak peek kinds of things. And so I got to work with this one ahead of time. But I hadn't pulled it out for a while until today's project. And so we are going to do a fun fold card, or fancy fold, depending on what you call them. It is a Z-fold card with a panel. And we're going to make the most of the designer series paper that is part of this package. So this is the Frosted Gingerbread paper. Morning, guys. Hey Trish and Lana and Kim and Tanya and Jessica and Tracy and Margie and everybody, Tanya. So the paper is great for a couple reasons. First of all, it has lots of good patterns in it. But then my favorite part of it is that it matches the dies. So I've got the dies all laid out here. This is a really robust die set with a lot of different images in it. The stars you certainly can use all year long if you need star things for congratulations and stuff like that. Snowflakes are good not just for Christmas. And then there are the bells and the ornaments and the little peppermints, which are darling. And those images are repeated in the paper. So it's really easy to pull out a piece of paper like this and die cut all those cute little gingerbread pieces, and you will not have to fussy cut, Sue. So you could die cut all of the cookies and the ornaments and so forth. The only ones that you would fussy cut would be the trees, or honestly, you could just use these as like a background paper or something. Or you could say, I don't like fussy cutting. And then you could choose to use the flip side of those papers as some of your background. So we're gonna make a card today to use as some fronts, some backs, all kinds of pieces to do a card with a fun fold and masking. Also, we are going to use the adorning designs mask. So the link is in the video description, so you can check out these supplies. And we're gonna go ahead and use one of these today. I'll show you another example of a second one, but I'm gonna give you some tips for using the masks with your craft ink, which is a little bit different than using them with regular ink. And also some of these masks are very detailed, which means that you're gonna wanna have the extra tips for working with them with a craft ink, because they're, like I said, a little different than regular. So, all right, shall we get stamping? We are going to start with a regular half sheet of cinnamon cider cardstock, so 5.5 by 8.5. And I am not going to score it before I do my masking, and I'll show you why. So let's flip down here. Hi, Sylvia. And get you guys set and pull you up here so I can see comments while we are working. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. We had a lot of fun with ours, a lot of music and theater and so forth. Let's see, I'm getting this a little slower than normal this morning. Okay, let's get ourselves positioned here. All right, so the card base, like I said, is just a half sheet of cardstock. And then I have a couple of the masks here that I've got inked already, you can see. I'm going to give you some tips, like I said, on the crafting. So I'm going to go ahead and use this dotty one here. And like I said, I am you're going to find that the craft ink works a little differently with the masks than it does, than the masks work with regular ink. So I'm going to position here. We are going to go ahead and do our whole piece of cardstock, because with the Z fold, we actually get our whole card showing in the end when the card is open, which I kind of adore. So let's see, there we go. So usually with a blending brush and ink, I always say you swirl it a couple times and then swirl on here. You're gonna find though that if you swirl on here and swirl on here, you pick up a little too much ink because the craft ink is a lot thicker. It's a pigment-based ink, not a water-based ink. And so you don't want to glob it on. So what I'm gonna do is just tap on here and tap on here. Now, if you are a person who can like pat your head and rub your tummy, then you could maybe swirl and tap, but I'm just going to tap on both because I am not that coordinated. So I'm not worried too much about getting a super duper deep impression here. And I'm also not worried about getting like the ultimate of perfection in covering everything, because a lot of our card is going to get covered up. So the parts that are gonna show are the edges here, okay? Notice that my left hand is never moved since we started. I am keeping it in one place so that I make sure that our mask doesn't move. And then we're gonna have this strip in the middle that's gonna show, and this strip here that's gonna show. All right, you're like, Meg, there's a whole part of our card that's missing. One of the great things about repeating patterns is that you can pick them up and move them over and line up your mask and carry on. So let's see. Now, you have to make sure you actually line it up correctly. If you only see 2 of the 4 dots, then probably you're not quite there yet. I almost changed the pattern. All right, and then I'm gonna finish out this edge here. So we're gonna have that show. And notice instead of swirling and putting ink on with swirls, I am just tapping. That way I can talk and stamp at the same time, which is like walking and chewing gum, I guess. You know, we all have our moments. Okay. So now if I was finished with this, I would go ahead and take this to the sink. It will wash with just dishwashing soap or, you know, dish detergent or hand soap or whatnot. And then you can get it clean and let it dry and pop it back. Now, the other mask that I used here is this pretty frosting swirl one. And I did this one on a piece of soft suede cardstock. I really like the cinnamon better. It's a little richer. But I did this on soft suede first. And I found that because these lines are really long, the swirling doesn't work at all. You really have to just tap with your blending brush. Now, you probably want to put a little label on this that says white craft ink, because it looks otherwise like it's a clean blending brush, and that would not act as a clean blending brush in your other projects. So, okay. So now I am going to go ahead and score. Now, the reason I told you I didn't score before we started was that, oops, I just dropped my catalog. I wanted to not pick up too much ink. So when you score, you create like an impression in the cardstock, right? And so I didn't want to have like a line show up in my inking. So I just figured I'd do the other first. It also takes a little longer for white crafting to dry, so treat this gently until you know it's dry. You can always heat set it with your heat tool. It's not really necessary, but just if you're in a hurry or something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna score in half at 4 1/4. I know this is upside down for you, my apologies. And then I'm going to score again at 2 1/8, which is going to be the front. So now flip it around for you guys, and you can see the way this is gonna work. We're gonna fold our design in and then back to the front, and now we have our Z-fold card here started. Okay, so let me get my trim or my Simply Scored tool out of the way. Now let's bring in some of those papers, right? So I have, let's see, this paper here, which has some pretty ornaments on it, ornaments and cookies. This one has some pretty cookies. Let's see, this one looks like a great background here. So let's plan on putting this one inside here. So this is cut to 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall, and it's gonna fit inside our card like that. And then for our front panel, I grabbed this paper. There's a couple different sheets of paper that include the peppermints on them. So it's not limited to just this one. There's one that's kind of a multicolor with the green too. And the peppermints really go nicely here with our stamp set. So we have some peppermint stamps, we have some peppermint words, we have all kinds of good choices. So this is gonna be the front of our card. It's cut to 3 by 4 inches, and it's gonna fold across just like that. Now, I felt like this got a little bit lost in here, so we could do a couple things. We could flip this one to the green side if we wanted to make this a green background, but I kind of wanted to stick with the reds, so here. And then I'm sure you guys can guess what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring in a piece of basic white cardstock that's cut to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 and pop that on there. And look at how that just really sets off the front of our card, okay? So much better with the layering and the like elements not blending into each other and be confusing to the eyes, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and pop this down. I'm gonna put some seal adhesive on this piece, okay? And layer it on the white. And then, let's see, I think I'm gonna go ahead and glue this one down too. Actually, I'm not gonna glue it down. I'll tell you why later. We're gonna do the inside first. So I'm gonna take this piece and glue it down. And then I'm going to stamp the inside of our card before we do the front of our card. And the reason for that is that I need our layering to line up. So if I put this on first and then our inside layer isn't quite right, it'll show when the card is put together, and we don't want that. So I have another piece of basic white cardstock. So if I were prepping cards for a class or to make a whole bunch of cards for myself, I like to make things easy. So both pieces of basic white on this card are 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, which is perfect because not only do you just, cut a sheet of cardstock in half, so you have 4 1/4, but also when you're putting your card together, you don't accidentally stamp the smaller one and waste them. And anyway, just if you can make things just easier to use for yourself, it'll just make your process go faster. So let's go ahead and look at here. So I want this Sending Peppermint Kisses to go on the inside of our card. So I've got my real red, which matches this suite. So you guys who are traditional red and green Christmas lovers, this is a great card for you. And so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp Sending You Peppermint Kisses. And then I'm gonna add some more peppermints inside because that goes with our greeting. So I'll put one up here and one kind of down here. Now, there are a lot of great images in here. You could add the little ones, you could add more of this one, you could add this fun border. Like, there's lots of like, oh my gosh, I just need more kinds of images here. Of course, you would want to stamp your envelope. So we can use that trick we did last week. Let's see, where's my stamp case? I think I have a Post-it note already in here. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp on here. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Post-it note and add some peppermints kind of, and I'm turning so that the same peppermint doesn't end up in the same position the whole time. I'm just gonna make this fun little border here for the bottom of our card. So now that's where our address would go. You could put this on top too, but I'm just gonna do just that much of it. So you have an envelope. All right, so like I said, we're gonna put this inside our card and pop this over here. So, all right. Now, if you have a plaid like this, you wanna make sure you line up around the plaid and don't squish across there. You always wanna squish from the back side of your card, squish your layers together. Now you can see why that was important to do first, because we want to make sure that our greeting, our panel on the front here lines up. So to add this panel, I could use dimensionals, but I'm gonna do adhesive so that it's flat. So I'm using my Seal Plus, which is a stronger adhesive than the regular seal. And it's ideal when you have panels that move or things that you want to, just have they have a little bit more force put on them. Okay, and of course you wanna keep it off of this side of the panel because you don't wanna close your card shut. All right, we are moving along on this fun card here. Oh yeah, Trish says she didn't think she needed this one. I know, it happens to me all the time too. Actually, the end of this week is the Stampin' Up! On Stage conference, which is sort of like our convention, but it's going to be virtual. And I am certain that we'll get to see as demonstrators all of the sneak peeks of the catalog that starts in January, and I will have the same problem. So Trish, I feel your pain. All right, so now we need a greeting on here. So I've got a strip of basic white and the Happy Holidays, which is a great sort of front side greeting. A lot of times I like to use a front side greeting and a back side greeting, or a front side greeting and an inside greeting, where the one of them is a little bit more involved. And I got like a little smudge there, so I'm just gonna do it again. This is all scrap anyway. I keep the edges from when I trim layers and so forth. So they're always handy. All right, so I'm going to just cut a banner end there and trim that flat. So now we have our greeting for the front of our card. And now is when we're gonna bring in some of those ornaments. So, like I said earlier, there are 1,000,003,000, it's an overstatement, dies here. And so there's the ornament that matches. Now you could also do this little tracery over the front, which this is actually what would make the frosting. So if I were gonna do this as a cookie, a die cut cookie, I would cut this from my cookie color, cinnamon cider probably, and then I would die cut this from basic white because this would make the gorgeous frosting element, okay? So you can do snowflakes, stars, bells, and let's see, snowflake is the other one here on this paper. So I would line these up and go ahead and die cut them. And shocking, I know you're surprised. Through the magic of television, I have those here all ready to go. So let's pop these back on here so I don't lose track of them. And looking at putting these on our card, so I want ideally to kind of set them off so that there is a little bit of element that makes them not disappear into the background. So actually, I'd probably be better off to do one of the other ornaments on this card, but the one that I pre-cut is this one, so we're gonna use it. So I'm gonna put my cookie on the end, which when I pop that underneath my greeting, helps the greeting to pop out. And then I'm gonna pop this ornament cookie here and layer that. So to help that set aside a little bit, I'm gonna put a dimensional under it. So the cookie is gonna go flat. So let's go ahead and I'll use my, remember, put your adhesive where it's going to contact the card layer and not be out over the edge of the card. I do like this overlap though. And then this piece is going to get a Stampin' Dimensional. And so I'll pop this one up, oops. And then we're gonna pop that last ornament up on the top. Okay, and again with the overlaps, I really like it when it overlaps on this side too. So there we have that. And I'm gonna put this up here like so. All right, now we are not finished with this card because one of the things that's included with this suite is this set of darling gingerbread and peppermint acrylic shapes. So let me show these to you guys. See how this, like, it's all kinds of little frilly shapes and so forth. These frilly shapes match up with the shapes that are on the frosting and the elements. So you can add these to your projects to like make the most of those, or use them just as little accents, kind of however you want. So let's go ahead for this one. I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna grab this little one here and I'm gonna use it kind of like a rhinestone. I'm just gonna pop it there on the end to accent our tag and to strengthen our focal point, right? Because we don't wanna necessarily stick it way off someplace else and create a new focal point. We want to strengthen the focal point that we've already created. So I just put a tiny bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on there, and then I add more ornament. Remember with those ornaments, or with the multi-purpose liquid glue, it doesn't grab right away, so you're gonna have to be patient until it dries. Give it a chance to get a good dry on there, and then, whoops, you will know that it is gonna be on there. So we have done a really good job of highlighting and repeating colors on this card. So I've got my real red and my cinnamon cider and the repeated elements. Now I have another version of this card to show you that brought in a little more of the old olive. So here is that card. Here we go. That had the old olive kind of on the bell and then a little more old olive in the background. So one of the great things, there's the inside sending peppermint kisses. So one of the great things about this suite and this stamp set is that you have all of these different pieces, the dies, the stamps, the acrylic shapes, the papers, everything to mix and match. And when you're cutting these peppermint strips, if you end up with like extra strips that are 2 inches by 2 inches by 6 inches. You'll know what I mean if you cut this card. If you have a couple of them, you can always mix and match them in the background. There's nothing that says this has to be one whole set of paper. You can sort of continue the panel design and then put your whisper white panel, or your basic white panel, on top of that, and have sort of another pattern. So save your scraps because they're super useful. You can put them to work for you in other cards. So, all right, what do you guys think? I know Trish said she was a super fan. She didn't think she wanted this bundle, but surprise. Okay, so I have to tell you, one of my favorite family traditions is cookie baking. And we would always get together. It was a big holiday thing. Like, everybody had their specific job. Somebody got to put the sugar on the cookies. My dad always we made pepperkakor, which are a Swedish ginger cookie, and they're really, really hard to mix. The dough is so tough. So my dad's job was always to roll out the pepperkakor. You have to make a syrup with them ahead of time. And so it's like a multi-stage thing. Just I can taste the memories of all those fun cookie making experiences. And I had a friend in high school who would come over and make cookies with us. So she was sort of extended family, and we always had a good time together. So my brother called her Sarah Merry Christmas for many years, actually pretty much forever. So yeah, so if you have fun cookie baking traditions, I hope that you will be excited about this gingerbread and peppermint stamp set, because it really just kind of brings out those fun feelings and fun memories. And because everything is so easy to mix and match, you will have lots of time left over to make cookies, because you could tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think it's never too early to make Christmas cookies. So if you make them, you can eat them and make more before Christmas comes around the next time. So let's see. Tanya said she thought she ordered the die. Oh, yes. So if you're looking at this one, I did not put the sweet collection, the whole sweet collection, in the description, the video description for the supply list, because the sweet collection is not orderable right now. So here it is. But the sweet collection includes all of the stuff on this page, and I'm pretty sure, yes, sweet collection includes one of each item listed on the next page. But it also includes these here. These Memories and More cards, which are super fabulous, and I can't wait till they're back in stock, because I have a whole slew of cards that I made with those, but they're not orderable. They're out of stock for a little while, so you can't order the sweet collection number, but you can order the pieces that come together. And if those are looking familiar, it might be because you remembered this card that I made, last week. So this was the Painted Christmas suite with the painted Christmas paper, and the cards and envelopes are from Peppermint and Gingerbread. So they are a great addition to any project, and they're part of this suite too. So, all right, guys. Tanya says she's going to case cards. Go right ahead. I love it. I love that this is inspiring people to stamp. So that's the idea here. If you need any supplies, the link is in the video description. Of course, you can watch this video over and over again if you need. Trish asked, will the suite become orderable? So right now you can get everything. Everything is orderable except the cards and envelopes. So I know it's a little bit more annoying. So instead of using just this one number here, just this one ordering number, you would have to put the order numbers in for this. But when you go to my online store, they usually pop up together, so it's not that big a deal. When the cards and Memories and More cards are back in stock, then yes, the whole suite collection will become orderable, but you don't have to wait for that. You can just get all the pieces that you want and then you could always add those later if you want them. So, all right, good question. Have a wonderful Monday. Hope you guys are excited about your week and have some fun things coming up. And I will look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday for another Maker Mornings with Meg video. So happy stamping, guys. Have a wonderful week, and thanks for joining me today.